Hi, welcome you all for my next video on Module 3 of Mechanical Measurements and Metrology, which is on measurement of screw threads and gear parameters. In the last video, we were discussing about the terminologies related to the screw thread. In this video, we are discussing on measurement of screw thread parameters using floating carriage micrometer instrument. Uh, and coming to this floating carriage micrometer, it is one of the very engineered, accurate, with very good LC or least count of processing instrument, which through which we can measure screw thread parameters like major diameter, minor diameter, and effective diameter. Especially the effective, for measuring the effective diameter, this is one of the finest and most important instrument to be. Let us take with points. Here we can see in this diagram there are three dif- uh, three important units. One is the base. The base starts from here. This is a base which has a housing of one is a uh, two that is one pair of centers on which threaded workpiece can be mounted at the center or in between the two centers. The base in which two centers are housed, between the two centers a threaded workpiece for which the measurements need to be employed that can be fitted. Another carriage is mounted on it. Here another carriage which is mounted on it. uh, it is exactly 90 degree with respect to its base. On this, uh, this is provided with one carriage capable of moving towards the center. On this carriage, one head having a large thimble. Here we can see a large drum or a thimble enabling reading up to 0.002 mm. Just opposite to it, a fixed anvil. This is a fixed anvil, which is springly, which possesses the springly loaded dial gauge, and its zero position is indicated by this dial indicator. Here there is a spring loaded system or a spring loaded plunger. When the zero position of this plunger is indicated by the reading in which is indicated by this dial indicator or visual indicator. Thus, the micrometer elements are exactly perpendicular to the axis of the centers, as two carriages are located perpendicular to each other. On the fixed carriage, the centers are supported in two brackets fitted on either end. The distance between the two centers can be adjusted depending upon the length of tie threaded job. Here two stands are provided, okay, over which the tie threaded jobs like even the loading of prism and loading of best wires are done over these two suspensions. Further, after the job is fitted between the centers, the second carriage is adjusted in its correct position to make the measurements and is located in a position. So the third carriage is then moved till the visual indicator is against the set point. The readings are noted from the thimble head. It is now obvious that the axis of the indicator and micrometer head spindle is same and is perpendicular to the line of two centers. The indicator is specially designed for this class of work and has only one index line against which the pointer is always to be set. This ensures constant measuring pressure for all readings. Sufficient friction is provided by the conical pegs to restrain the movement of carriage along the line of centers. The upper carriage is free to float on a balls and enables micrometer readings to be taken on a diameter without restraint. Squareness of the micrometer to the line of center can be adjusted by rotating the pegs in the first carriage, which is made eccentric in its mounting. Above the micrometer carriage, two supports are provided for supporting the wires and V pieces for measurement of effective diameter. So now let us go with the procedure to determine the major diameter over the floating carriage micrometer. To measure the major diameter, the instrument has to be first set to a datum by means of a slip gauge or preferably over a standard cylinder of known diameter. Generally, we use a standard cylinder to set it to a datum, and that standard cylinder should be of having a known diameter with highly accurate reading. If there is any error with respect to its nominal size, that should have been known earlier. This standard cylinder having a diameter about equal to that of the thread diameter to be measured is mounted between the holding centers of the instrument. The first reading R1 of the micrometer is taken. Just first step is place or mount the standard cylinder between the two centers and apply the pressure on the standard cylinder over a spring loaded system. Let me say around 50 reading, which is indicated in the dial indicator, that or 100 the reading in the dial indicator can be considered. That much uniform pressure let us apply on the standard cylinder, and corresponding reading has to be recorded, and that reading let us call it as a micrometer reading R1. The standard cylinder is then moved and the screw thread of which major diameter has to be measured is held between the centers, and the second reading R2 is taken. It is nothing but the specimen for which the thread parameters or major diameter has to be calculated, that is fitted between the two centers, and then apply the same pressure. Let me say either a 50 or a 100. The same pressure is applied, and corresponding the pressure is applied. One more important thing is the pressure is applied here by rotating the drum or that scale. Okay, the thimble is rotated such a way that the spring loaded system or spring loaded plunger will move inside and gives the reading over the dial indicator. So that is how we are applying the pressure on the specimen or a standard cylinder. So once the specimen over the specimen, the load is being applied such a way that the dial indicator is giving reading about 50 or 100, whichever we have considered for the earlier over a standard cylinder, and then the corresponding reading over the thimble has to be recorded, and let us call that the second reading as R2. Now If the diameter of a standard cylinder is 5, let me explain with an example. The and the micrometer reading over the standard cylinder is R1, and the micrometer reading over the screw thread is R2. So the major diameter of the screw thread will be D is equal to 5 plus or minus of difference between R1 and R2. So the plus or minus sign is determined depending on whether the standard cylinder is smaller or larger in diameter than the thread's major diameter. This measurement must be repeated at 3 different positions along the thread to determine any taper which may be present, and at least 3 angular positions to detect ovality. So in this, ovality or out of roundness is one of the important parameter which can be ensured through measuring the 3 different angular positions. And cylindricity, again it is another important parameter, so this can be ensured by taking or an average reading which can be taken at 3 different locations over the length of the standard cylinder. So that is the procedure of measuring the major diameter of a given screw thread in a or using a floating carriage micrometer. Next, to measure the minor diameter. In the major diameter, there is no attachments or any aid in services or aid in components or parts are not required. Whereas to calculate the minor diameter, aid in parts or components are required, and that is a triangular components with larger height, or it is nothing but a V pieces, or even sometimes we call it as anvils or a prisms. This is also measured by a comparative process using small V pieces which make contact with the root of the thread. The V pieces are available in several sizes having suitable radii at the edges. The included angle of V pieces is less than the angle of the thread to be checked, so that it can easily probe to the root of the thread. To measure the minor diameter by V pieces is suitable only for Whitworth thread or BA threads which have a definite radius at the root. The principle of measuring the minor diameter is same as that of measuring the major diameter. The principle of measuring the minor diameter is same as that of measuring the major diameter, but V-shaped prisms are used. Let me say, like initially, uh, standard cylinder is fitted between the two or mounted between the two centers. Now the prisms are held between the anvil, micrometer anvil, and the spring loaded plunger, and a pressure, uniform pressure, either 50 or 100 is applied, and corresponding reading over the micrometer over the thimble or a drum is recorded. And let me call it as the reading R1. This is the how it is being taken. The V piece is fitted on either sides of a standard cylinder of known diameter. This, let me call it as a micrometer anvil, and the other side it is a plunger. So micrometer reading over the cylinder and V pieces is recorded. Now the standard cylinder is replaced with the screw thread for which it is to be measured. When this screw thread is being placed, or a screw thread is being placed, again the procedure is repeated by making the V pieces in contact to the root of the screw thread. That is most important. If it is giving, if the pointer of the micrometer anvil, this V piece is not touching the root, then we are not getting the minor diameter. So we have to ensure that the peak of this prism or a V piece is in contact with the root of the screw thread. When on either sides the V pieces are made in contact, then uniform pressure is applied over the micrometer, such a way that the dial indicator is giving a standard or uniform pressure of around 50 or 100, whichever is considered, and then the reading is recorded, which is obtained on the thimble or micrometer of the thimble or the drum, and let me call that as reading R2. Okay, so and to calculate the minor diameter, now it is given by D plus, where D is the diameter of the standard cylinder, D plus or minus of difference in the reading of R1 and R2. So that gives the minor diameter of a given screw, and this is the procedure to calculate the minor diameter using floating carriage micrometer. Now let us go with the effective diameter. The effective diameter is one of the important diameter term related to the screw thread, and it has to be measured and it has to be known for a given screw thread, because uh, it is going to contribute towards the mechanical strength, or it is effective diameter. It can be defined as the point on a flank surface such at which when the two screw threads are mating in complete manner. So this simple effective diameter can be measured either by a one wire method, two wire method, or three wire or rod method. So the effective diameter or a pitch diameter is also called as, which can be measured by any one of the following methods generally. One is by the micrometer method, second one is the one wire, two wire or three wire method. This over the floating carriage micrometer, generally we employ two wire method or a three wire method. The micrometer method is also employed, but however this two wire method and three wire method are comparatively or relatively more accurate compared to the micrometer method. Further, this float this method that is these methods, one wire, two wire or three wire methods, are a lengthy process, or it is a time consuming process where a procedure, whereas the micrometer method is a quicker one, which gives an easily the approximate or a reading of a effective diameter. So let us start with the two wire method. So in this two wire method, you can see the two wires are kept on either sides of the same screw thread, and the reading is taken. So effective diameter of a screw thread, it may be ascertained by placing two wires or rods of identical diameter between the flanks of the thread and measuring the distance over the outside of these wires, and the effective diameter is then calculated as E is equal to T plus P, where T is the dimension under the wires M is and P is calculating is need to be calculated. It is a value which depends upon the diameter of the wire and pitch of the screw thread, and T is given by T is equal to M minus 2D, where M is the dimension over the wires, D is the diameter of each wire. The wire which is used in these methods, either a one wire or two wire or three wire, such a wires we call it as a best size wire, and these are the standard size wires. These wires need to make completely contact with the screw thread at a effective diameter. So further in the further video we will discuss what is best size wire and how the diameter of such wires need to be derived. So in the next video we will discuss in detail about this two wire method and the expression for two wire derivation for the expression of two wire method in detail. Uh, Further, have a glance before watching the next video, have a glance on the definition of the effective diameter, because the basic definition of the effective diameter clearly, if you understand the basic definition of the effective diameter, then only we can you can clearly understand the derivations. Okay, so thank you all for your patient listening. I have used many resources from different textbooks as well as internet resources in preparing this teaching material. Hence, I acknowledge all such sources, and I also thank all such sources. Thank you all.